Imagine being judged today for an act you committed years ago, now considered criminal, though it was perfectly legal when you did it. Does this feel fair? This is the concept of retroactive justice. This fascinating concept sits at the intersection of law, ethics, and philosophy, stirring up a whirlwind of questions. It's the idea of applying today's laws and moral standards to past actions. A complex dance, isn't it? It raises eyebrows, asking us to ponder on the fairness of judging actions based on standards that did not exist when they were committed. It probes into the heart of legal principles, moral and social standards, retroactive moral judgment, future standards, and the implications for justice. It's a rich tapestry of thought, weaving together past, present, and future, law and ethics, society and the individual. It's a journey, and we're about to embark on it. Let's delve into the legal principles that govern this concept. In law, there's a Latin term, nullum crimen sine lege, meaning no crime without law. This principle is a cornerstone of legal systems worldwide, stating that an act cannot be prosecuted if it wasn't considered a crime when committed. It's the reason why we don't have ex post facto laws, which are laws that retroactively make an action illegal after it's been carried out. Imagine being charged today for a deed you did last week, which was perfectly legal at the time. It would feel unfair, wouldn't it? Democratic societies generally prohibit such laws, as they violate principles of fair notice and stable governance. People need to know what the law is, and they need assurance that the rules won't change unpredictably. Without this, we'd live in constant uncertainty, unsure of what might suddenly become a crime. However, legal principles are only one side of the coin. Let's consider the moral and social standards. Standards of morality and social conduct are not static, they evolve over time. This dynamic nature of our moral compass is shaped by numerous elements like cultural shifts, scientific advancements, and social progress. It is a process, a journey that humanity embarks on, learning, unlearning, and relearning what is deemed right or wrong, acceptable or unacceptable. Think of historical figures, many of whom engaged in practices that we now condemn. Slavery, for instance, was a widely accepted practice throughout much of human history. Today, we view it as a deeply abhorrent violation of human rights. Yet when we examine historical figures who owned slaves, we often do so within their historical context. We acknowledge that they were products of their time, living in a world where such practices were normalized. The same goes for sexism. Many societies of the past were patriarchal, with women being denied basic rights that we now consider fundamental. Yet, when we evaluate historical figures who upheld these sexist norms, we often do so within the context of their time and place. But here's the rub. As we progress and our understanding of morality evolves, we are faced with a unique challenge, judging past actions based on our current standards. This is what we call the retroactive moral judgment. It's a complex issue, fraught with ethical, legal, and philosophical questions. These evolving standards pose a unique challenge, the retroactive moral judgment. Applying today's moral standards to the past can stir up quite a controversy. The idea of retroactive moral judgment has sparked heated debates, particularly when it comes to how we remember historical figures and events. For instance, consider the ongoing discussions around renaming buildings or removing statues of historical figures who, by today's standards, engaged in morally reprehensible behavior. This retroactive application of morality can feel like an attempt to rewrite history, which can be both troubling and complex. These complexities don't end with our judgment of the past, though. They extend forward, posing a challenge for our present actions. This prospective aspect of retroactive justice suggests that our current moral standards might not be the final benchmark. Future societies may very well judge our actions, considered moral today, as fundamentally wrong. This possibility can be disconcerting, as it casts a shadow of uncertainty over our present actions, and it raises questions about the permanence of our moral framework. But this isn't necessarily a negative. It can also be seen as a prompt for introspection, encouraging us to think critically about our actions and their potential implications. It reminds us that morality is fluid, constantly evolving with societal norms and values. The constant evolution of standards and their retroactive application could have serious implications for justice. Imagine a world where justice is fully retroactive. Would it be fair or just chaos? Let's unpack this. If we allowed justice to work backwards, applying today's laws and moral standards to past actions, we could be opening Pandora's box. We might think we're correcting past wrongs, but we could also be sowing seeds of significant instability. Consider this. You're an individual or an institution, living or operating by the rules and standards of today. Suddenly, you find yourself facing legal uncertainty. Actions that were perfectly acceptable and legal when you performed them are now being scrutinized under a new set of rules. The goalposts have shifted, and you're left questioning if you've inadvertently committed a crime. This constant state of uncertainty could be the norm in a world where justice is retroactive. And it's not just about the legal implications. This could also stifle social progress. If people are constantly worried that their actions today might be judged by the unpredictable standards of tomorrow, they might become reluctant to act at all. Innovation, progress, and societal development could be hampered as people hesitate to push boundaries or challenge the status quo for fear of future retribution. Yes, addressing past wrongs is crucial. It's important to acknowledge and learn from our mistakes, but we must tread carefully when it comes to imposing our current moral and legal standards on past actions. We must remember that laws and moral codes are products of their time, influenced by the societal norms and knowledge of that period. In the complex world of retroactive justice, a balance must be struck between respect for historical context, legal stability, and evolving societal norms. It's a delicate dance, requiring careful navigation to ensure that we're fair and just, both in the present and in how we judge the past. After all, justice in its truest form should be about fairness, understanding, and above all, balance.